Loving God, as we go through the next several days, our lives will be so full and we will go so many directions, and at the end of each day, we'll fall exhausted into bed, into our armchair, into our recliner on the sofa. Help us, Lord, as we fall wherever we are, to remember at some point to fall on our knees, to hear the angel voices, to know that the reason that we're doing all that we do at this time of the year is because you loved us so much that you came to save us. In the name of your Son, amen. The prophet Micah. Why are you preaching out of the Old Testament the Sunday before Christmas? George called me and said, is this right? I'm reading the Old New Testament. You're reading the Old? Yep, that's right. Why? We need to know, folks, where we come from. We need to know where it began. Hear Micah. But you, Bethlehem Ephraimah, though you are little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall come forth to me the one. And my translation capitalizes one. All three times it appears. The one to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth are from old, from everlasting. Therefore he shall give him up until the time that she who is in labor has given birth. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return to the children of Israel, and he shall stand and feed his flock. In the strength of the Lord and the majesty of the name of the Lord his God, and they shall abide. For now he shall be great to the ends of the earth, and this one shall be peace. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. I think most of you know of my love for music. And last night I went to hear the Memphis Symphony do their annual Christmas concert. And it was just unbelievable. And for about 10 minutes they had a sing-along. And there were 2,000 people there who knew no one. But when we got to the religious part of the sing-along, we had done Jolly Old St. Nick, we had done Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and we went into 3 or 4 of the most familiar carols. Hearts open, voices came forth that probably don't sing anywhere in the world except maybe in the shower. And people let go. And I watched, and I felt people get misty. There's just something about music, be it Christmas music or anything else that we love that affects us far beyond our epidermis. It gets deep into us. And there are so many genres of music, and each one of us has our own taste. Some of us actually like 3 different kinds or 2 different types. One of my favorite styles of songs is songs about cities. Start spreading the news, because I'm going where? To New York. New York. Or it's a toddling town. Where am I talking about? Chicago. Chicago, that toddling town. Tony Bennett, at age 90, whatever that old guy is, can still knock the heck out of I Left My Heart in San Francisco. And there are all sorts of songs about cities. There is a wonderful song from the 1980s by a well-known name in music composition, Bach. And the name of that song is O Little Town of Hackensack. You know, not O Little Town of Bethlehem. O Little Town of Hackensack. And it's a strange song. And if Philip Brooks, who really wrote O Little Town of Bethlehem back in the mid-19th century, ever heard O Little Town of Hackensack, he would roll over on its grave, because it's a parody of today's modern culture on what Philip Brooks wrote when he penned those words to O little town of Bethlehem that we sang earlier in the service. Now, I seriously doubt that Hackensack or Selmer or Wynn or any other little burg around here will ever achieve quite the fame, will ever achieve quite the stardom of Bethlehem, the city of David. Now, we're all aware, we know the music, the power that music can hold over our human spirits. It can communicate to our inner being, to our soul, that which no study of theology can achieve. Music reaches deep into us where words cannot reach, and music awakens emotions deep inside of us that there are no words for. Christmas carols encourage us, pulls it out of us to worship and to hope and to maybe even expand the horizons and our vision so that we can see the light of truth and dare to live justly in a troubled world. And no matter how often we sing the simple words of O little town of Bethlehem, they always seem to transport us to that night when our Savior Jesus Christ came to earth. It's through a gentle, quiet tune and picture that's painted with words, and we enter into that time and place when God is born into human history, and as John tells us, the Word becomes incarnate. I think probably most of us have a greeting card picture of how Bethlehem probably looked some 2,000 years ago. To me, Bethlehem springs up out of an oasis, perhaps in a desert. And if you've ever been in the Mediterranean, they have wonderful architecture. And as I think about it, I see Santorini and Mykonos with quaint domed houses along gently rolling hillsides, and their palm trees, kind of like we have magnolias, they have palm trees sprinkled along. And overhead is a dark lapis blue sky. And in that sky are thousands of small twinkling stars, but there's one star that's hundreds of times bigger than those smaller stars. And it has an extraordinary beam coming from it and streaming from it. And it's leading some strange stargazers as they travel toward Bethlehem. Bethlehem is one of many little towns of Judea, and it's legendary in both story and in song. There are not very many cities, other than maybe Hackensack, that size, that are as well known as Bethlehem. It's just an insignificant village. And yet, it's the birthplace. It's the birthplace of the Messiah and of our Savior. And it shows us God works everywhere. And God was indeed at work in Bethlehem, of all places. Why not Rome? Why not Athens? He chose the insignificant, the unimportant. He chose Bethlehem. And whenever we think of Bethlehem, I think, and I suspect you do too, we think diminutively. We think of little. And it's probably because of that carol that we sing. Think about it now. Our society is programmed to think that bigger is better. But if you think about it, some of the best things come in very small packages. Bethlehem has been a center of action throughout history, proving to us that bigger is not always better. A little bit of history here. Let me give you a little bit of history about Bethlehem. Rachel gave birth to Benjamin, the last of Jacob's 12 sons. Where? In Bethlehem. Naomi and her husband and their 2 strong sons leave famine-stricken Bethlehem to seek food and to seek sustenance in a foreign land. And years later, she and her beloved daughter-in-law Ruth, they return to Naomi's hometown of Bethlehem, where Ruth gives birth to Obed, and Obed was King David's grandfather. The prophet Micah tells of a great ruler who has come from Bethlehem, King David's hometown. And Bethlehem is mentioned numerous times throughout the life of David. While David was young and growing up, Bethlehem was dominated by the Philistines, and they had those weapons of iron. And David runs into that giant they had, a giant of a man, Goliath, who had an ego to match his size. And David is bringing supplies down the road to his brothers who were in the military when he just happens to meet this Philistine giant. And the giant finds out quickly he's no match, even with him here and David here. He is no match for David's trusty slingshot and David's great faith in the power of God. It's in Bethlehem, folks, that Samuel first anointed David as the king of Israel. God tells Samuel to get over, to quit lamenting the demise of King Saul, who has fallen from grace, and to head where? To Jesse's house in Bethlehem. And he goes. And Jesse introduces this fine assortment of sons to Samuel, but the youngest son, David, lovingly referred to as the runt of the litter, is not there. He's out tending to the sheep. He's out singing sweet, lovely songs. Who would have ever thought that the runt of the litter, David, would be the apple of God's eye and a king of God's own choosing? But at Samuel's insistence, Jesse sends for the runt. Jesse sends for David. And at God's instructions, Samuel anoints and Samuel appoints David to become the future king. And at that moment, just like a rushing wind, the Spirit of God enters into David. And at the same time, that Spirit of God left Saul. 2,000 years ago, Bethlehem was situated in a country that was occupied by foreign troops and was governed and administered by Roman officials. And those Roman officials could have cared less about those humble citizens of Bethlehem. During the century before Christ's birth, the Roman Empire had gobbled up, had taken over the ruling Greek Empire. And in Luke's Gospel, the Roman Emperor Augustus has ordered a census. And that census requires Mary and Joseph to travel about 75 miles from Nazareth to Bethlehem. 75 miles is about the same drive we have up I-40 to Jackson. Only they were on donkey or on foot. It took them longer than an hour and 10 minutes. The town, when they get there, is overcrowded. It's packed with travelers arriving to register for this census. And the little town, burg, hamlet, is bursting at the seams. But in all of this that sounds so negative, God is at work, even through those governmental decrees. And God is preparing for the birth of the Messiah in Bethlehem. The people, they've been expecting the Messiah for a long time, and they're expecting him to be a descendant of King David. Matthew's Gospel quotes the spiritual promise we read from Micah, and he says, "And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." God fulfills purposes. He uses all kinds of people. He even uses emperors that are jerks. So every